Have you ever encountered a problem like that? Or have you gotten one of these puzzles and then mixed it up, but you didn't know the solution to it? Well, I am there to help you. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to solve the Rubik's Cube. But before I actually teach you how to solve the Rubik's Cube, we need to know the basics. First of all, we need to know the colors. So there are 6 colors on the Rubik's Cube: white, green, red, blue, orange, and yellow. The opposite of orange is red because they're pretty similar. The opposite of yellow is white, they're pretty similar. And the opposite of blue is green. They are also pretty similar. Now we need to get on to the pieces. This piece is called a centerpiece. It never changes, it never moves. No matter how much you turn it, it will always stay in its spots. This piece is called the edge piece, and it has 2 faces. This one right here is the corner piece. It has 3 faces. We also need to know the notation. So this will be the right side, this will be the left side, this will be the up side, this will be the down side, this will be the front side, and this is the back side. Whenever I tell you to turn the right side, I'll say R. When I tell you the inverse, I'll say R prime. And R prime is basically the letter R, but there is an apostrophe next to it. And to turn the letter twice, I'll say R2. For the left side, this will be L, L prime, L2, U, U prime, U2, D, D prime, D2, F, F prime, F2, and finally B, B prime, B2. Now that you know the basics, I am going to be teaching you the first step in solving the Rubik's Cube. So the first step is to build a white cross. So basically, get all of these pieces with white attached to the white center. So first, before solving the white cross, we're going to create a daisy, which is basically the yellow center, but there are white colors all around it. So, for example, this one right here, we can just move it up, and it is attached to the yellow center. We can move this one up, attached to the yellow center. We can also move this one right here. But as you can see, it's not oriented correctly. So what we have to do is we're going to move this edge out of the way. Then I'm going to rotate here. And I'm going to rotate this edge up so that the white is touching the yellow. Now for this one right here, I'm just going to move this one. Then we're going to move this one down. And your cube should look like this. Now we have to get all these edges to the bottom. So pick an edge. I'll just pick the white red. And look at the color what's facing you. For instance, my color is red. So I will rotate to the red center. Then move it down. Then I see the white orange. I have to rotate to the orange center. Then put it down. I see the white blue. It's already attached to the blue center. I will rotate it down. And I see the white green. I'll rotate it to the green center and then move it down. And as you can see, you have successfully completed the first step in solving the Rubik's Cube. Next, we are going to solve the white corners. So we're going to get all of these corners to the white center, but we're also going to bring them to the right spots. So pick a corner. I'll pick the red, green, and white. So I have to look for the white, green, and red centers. They're right here. I'm going to rotate so that it's near these centers. And I'm going to do this algorithm. R prime, D prime, R, D. Is it oriented correctly? Nope. Let's try it again. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And as you can see, it is oriented correctly. And just do that algorithm over and over again until it's oriented correctly. And for this one, we'll do R prime, D prime, R, D, 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 R prime, D prime, R, D. See the orange, white, and green. I'm going to move it to the white, orange, and green centers. So I'm going to move it here. R prime, D prime, R, D. And finally, the white, blue, and orange. Let's rotate to the white, blue, and orange centers. Right here. Then do the algorithm. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. R prime, D prime, R, D. And as we can see, we built the first layer and the first color of the Rubik's Cube. The next step is we're going to insert the edges that need to go here. So we're going to flip the cube over and look for some edges like this, which do not have yellow on them. Ignore all the edges that have yellow. So I see this blue and orange edge. Whichever color is facing you, you're going to attach it to the center of that color. And if it's on the left right here, it's on the left, do this algorithm. U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F. Let's find another one. I see the green and orange. So I'm going to rotate to the orange side, since orange is facing me. And it needs to go here. So according to the cube right now, it's on the right. So hold like this, and do this following algorithm. U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime. Let's find another one. I'll just pick the blue and red so to show you a different case. So if you want to solve an edge that needs to go into the right spot, but it's in a different slot, as you can see here. So I need to take it to the blue and red centers, but it's in the red and green. What you can do is replace it with an edge that has yellow on it. I'll just pick this one, then do one of the algorithms on the screen. Now it needs to go here. I'll do the algorithm that follows it. This one needs to go here. So I'll do this algorithm. As we can see, we built the first two layers of our Rubik's Cube. Now just to show you another case, if the edge is in the right spot, but it's not oriented correctly, like this edge right here, the final edge, it's in the right spot, but the greens are not touching and the oranges are not touching. So just like what I said before, replace it with one of the yellow edges, do one of the algorithms on the screen. Then find the edge right here, rotate to the color that's facing you, then do the algorithm that follows it. Now we're going to be solving the yellow cross. Now what I mean by that is that we're going to make sure all the yellow edges are touching the yellow center. Like all the yellow faces of the edges are touching the yellow center. So as you can see, I got a case like this, an L shape. What I'm going to do is make sure the L is facing like this, and then do this algorithm. F, U, R, U prime, R prime, F prime. Here's another case you might get. So there's a bar right here, and two opposite edges need to face the yellow. Two opposite yellow faces need to touch the yellow. Make sure the bar is horizontal, and then do the following moves. F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime. Here's the final case you might get. None of the yellow edges are facing the yellow center correctly. They're all looking away from the yellow center as if they hate it. So just face any side. I'll just pick this side for example. And then do one of the algorithms on the screen. Then do the algorithm that follows it. So I've got a bar right here. There we go. The next step is to permute or move around all the yellow edges in the right spot. So like these two edges, this one needs to go here because yellow red. This one needs to go here because yellow green. Now you might end up with like 2 edges solved or 4 edges solved. If you end up with 4, great. But if you end up like 2, like me, then I'll teach you. So if you have 2 adjacent ones, hold them in the back and do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. Check again. Yep, they're all permuted. So here's this case. 2 opposites need to swap. So for me, the yellow green needs to go here. Yellow blue needs to go there. So if you get a case like this, do the algorithm, which is just taught you, anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a certain spot. Then turn the cube until you spot two adjacents. If you get two adjacents, hold them in the back. Then do the algorithm. There we go. Now that we've permuted all of the yellow edges, we are on the second to last step, which is permuting all of the corners, putting the corners in the right spots. So find a corner that's in the right spot. The corner does not have to be oriented correctly. I see the yellow, blue, and red. It's in the right spot because it's near the yellow, blue, and red centers. So I'll hold it to the right and do the following moves. L prime, U, R, U prime, L, U, R prime, U prime. If they are permuted, good. But if they're not, do the algorithm one more time. Now check again. Yes. 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 So there we go. We finished the second to last step in solving the Rubik's Cube. Now if you get this case, when you search for any permuted corner, but there's none. This one needs to go here, 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 in my case. So if you get this case, just do the algorithm on the screen anywhere around here. Then find a corner in the right spot. See this one? It's not oriented correctly, but I'll ignore it. Then I'll hold it to the right. Do the algorithm again. And there we go. Now that we're done permuting all the corners, we are on the final step in solving the Rubik's Cube, which is orienting all the corners. So look for any corner. See the yellow, red, green. Just like in the second step, we're going to do this algorithm. R prime, D prime, R, D. Do it over again, all over again, until it's oriented correctly. If it's oriented correctly, move it away. Then do the algorithm for the next corner. If it's oriented correctly, move it away. Do the algorithm again. Is it oriented correctly? Yes. Move it away. See this one? Do the algorithm again. Is it oriented correctly? Yes. Do a few more turns. And there we go. You have just solved the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. Congratulations. So that is it for my tutorial on how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. U, R, U prime, L, U, R prime, U prime. What the?